Hey y'all, welcome to the family that reads a lot. Just figured we check in and kind of do a quick reading wrap up of some things we've been reading lately. And then I'll take y'all out for a look at the garden and show you what did make it. I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I thought at 15 degrees, it was going to be pretty bad. There was some loss, but not nearly what I thought it was going to be. So at the end of the video, we'll take a walk through the garden and I'll show y'all. Kitty has come to help us. This is Holly. If I haven't told y'all, she, always feels the need to be right on top of me. So, anyway, just some quick looks at, or a quick look at what we've been reading lately. Um, all three books are from my son. My daughter has been into a really big book lately, has really enjoyed it, and is within like pages of finishing it. I was going to wait on this video, but then I wouldn't have been able to put up a Tuesday video. Also, my voice is doing some weird stuff today. I think just because it is wet, it is nasty, it's cold outside. So I'm going to try and get this video in just in case something goes weird with my voice. So my son read opening night. It's about the Houston Texans, just a sports book. He really enjoyed this. It's got some really, really good pictures in it. He found it super interesting. It's his favorite sports team. So it was neat for him to get to read this. He really enjoyed that one. The next one he read is the NBA Encyclopedia. Y'all saw that he did like the NFL Encyclopedia and what, MLB. So now he did NBA because he's playing basketball right now. He's really enjoyed that series of books. They're called the Sports Encyclopedias. This one's by Brendan Flynn. So if you've got a sports kid, they have MLB, NBA, NFL, and apparently an Olympics encyclopedia too. That's the only one he hasn't read. Other than that, for a fiction book lately, he read The Last Dogs, Dark Waters by Christopher Holt. He read the first book of this series a while back, and the second book was really hard to find. I guess these are considered older books by the library, which kind of makes me crazy because just because a book was written like 10 years ago or something doesn't necessarily mean that it's not of value to have in libraries. But a friend of mine who is a librarian told me, so the first edition was 2013. So okay, it's been more than 10 years, but still. A friend of mine told me it has to do with funding sometimes with libraries on the date or the age of their books. And I'm like, that is kind of crazy to me. But anyway, I think there's one more. Yeah, there's one more in this. So I'm going to see if I can find that. The first one was The Vanishing. This is Dark Water. And the last one is The Long Road. It's very dim in here because it's really dark outside and it's only like 5 o'clock in the evening. And the last one is a book for me, which is One Last Shot by Susan May Warren. This is Alaska Air One Rescue, Book 1. I really enjoyed this book. So I found this author in a like books you may like if you read on the last book that I read. And right now, y'all, I am drawing an absolute blank of the author of that one. Danny Petrie. So I read one of her books. And this was like a, if you like that author, you may like this author kind of book. And it was really good. It was about a rescue tech who is a female, and then a like country star comes up to do a reality show with this Alaskan air rescue group. And you know how that's going to go, right? You think he's going to be an idiot and all this kind of stuff. Turns out he's a really good guy, and things go from there. It's got a lot of suspense to it. There's a lot of things going on. It keeps you really interested. I'm really enjoying, and this is a Christian publishing group. I can't remember, what is it? Revel Books. I'm really enjoying the Christian suspense right now. Like I've talked about before, it can get a little tropey, but I would rather have a trope that I'm okay with than having what's now become a trope in a lot of the more modern books that I'm not okay with. So it is what it is. And I don't know that there's an absolutely perfect book out there. So you find the ones that you can relate to and get along with and not have issue with anything that's in them. And I like supporting authors that I can be okay with what they're writing, if that makes sense. So, at any rate, I will definitely continue this. I actually have the second book sitting over there. That's why you saw my eyes travel that direction when I was talking about this one. Um, because I'm going to continue with this series. It was really fun. This is another series where this book followed like the main singer guy and the one girl and their kind of happenings. The next book follows another one of the rescue techs in a different situation. So I'm hoping that I like that, because I don't always like that. Sometimes I get really attached to characters and then want to continue with them. But I'm hoping I like it. So I will be talking about that one soon. I am actually reading a different Danny Petrie series right now, or not series, but a different book, starting another series, because the one that I'd read before this, I couldn't get the second book. It was on, like, somebody had it checked out. So I've had to wait on it. Right now, it's actually at my library, so I have to go pick it up. But I started a different series just because I wanted another book to read. So yeah, obviously, I'm kind of going down this road for right now. I don't know how long I'll stay on it, but they're suspenseful, they're interesting, they're keeping me reading. The characters are good. I mean, that's kind of what I need out of a book, right? So if you know of any Christian suspense type things, or authors that you just love, feel free to recommend them to me. But yeah, that's what we've been doing right now. So now y'all come along with me and let's go see what survived in the garden. All right, ladies and gents. So today was the uncovering. I showed you that I covered all of this. We got down to 15 one night and we're in the low 20s multiple nights. I uncovered this today. Last night it got down to, I think, 25. There's literally still ice standing on the covers that I took off. So this bed was covered with a double layer of frost cloth, like the frost cloth you buy. I can't remember the name of it. The stuff toward the back of the bed where the snow was blowing this way and the ice, so the heavier stuff laid on all of this, definitely took a bigger hit. The stuff toward the front of the bed where it didn't have snow and stuff sitting on it did a bit better. Now these are all carrots. I think realistically what's under the ground is okay, because what I'm seeing on the top is some damage, but it's not horrible. So we'll see what that does. Here we've got cabbages. I think they probably froze, so I don't know that they're going to be any good. I know for sure, yeah, this top layer is for sure frozen. Realistically, I may be able to pick this today and have some of this tonight, but I'm not hopeful for those. And that's frustrating because I thought that the frost cloth would do better. Here we have broccoli. Same thing. The back of the bed where the snow blew against it looks substantially worse than the front of the bed where it didn't. We have a big rainstorm coming in today. Things are warming up quickly. So I'm going to see how this does. So this is Brussels sprouts. I mean, I'm flicking ice off of it as we speak. Excuse me. But I don't know. I have hope that maybe this part of the bed will be okay. Here we have greens that I basically picked down to nothing because I was just going to basically let them go. They may come back, may not. I may just pull them anyway. This is lettuce. This all had a double layer of sheets on it. So honestly, it's not bad. I'm going to pick all of the dead stuff off, and I think that this will actually regrow and continue to do okay, because I think that the root structure and the plants themselves are okay. They just got burned a little bit. That was surprising. I figured everything in this bed pretty much would be dead. This is, I think that, yeah, this is broccoli, almost untouched, seems fine. Kale, same thing, basically looks like it could care less. Kale is super hardy, so This is all, this was uncovered. So this was peas and things that I knew I was going to lose. It was what it was. This was cabbages. No, this is not cabbages. This is cauliflower that had a double cover on it of sheets, but these sheets collapsed from the weight of the snow, and you can see they took substantially more damage. Will they come back? I don't know. I think no matter what, they're going to be stunted, so I will probably pull them and start over. I think I'm going to just redo this end of the bed right away. So these sheets I attached up here to this metal wire, and it held the snow off, like stuff pushed off, and I think that that's what made all the difference here. So let's go look at the last couple beds. This was one of the beds that I really wanted to save. This had comforters, so it had a comforter and a sleeping bag. You can see there's still ice on it. It had that on it, and I think that here that made all the difference, because you can see the lettuce here is the same, not species, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's this exact same lettuce as over there. We have a tiny bit of burn, same thing where the snow pushed on the covers, and the wind. The onions seem mostly okay. Their tops may die back, but I think they'll continue to grow. The greens look fantastic. Spinach, I've had years where I pulled spinach out from under snow, so spinach doesn't really care about cold. This is broccoli. It's a little burnt, but not terrible, and I think probably because it was touching the cover. Same thing, there's lettuce over here. This lettuce didn't do quite as well. This one, I actually think these two had a log sitting on them. I think I got a little close with my log, so that's on me. This is on my cauliflower that I was kind of hoping to save, but I knew might not. This had a double layer of the frost cloth on it, and the frost cloth just didn't cut it. Now the kale that's in here, again, kale, I don't think really could care less about freezing temperatures very much, because it's perfectly fine. I may trim it back a little bit. I harvested a ton off of that right before the freeze, just because knowing it may or may not make it. But this stuff over here is pretty damaged. This is where my herbs are. You can see my dill and stuff here. This didn't, so right here doesn't have this hoop. The frost cover collapsed on it, and you can tell, like, it suffered a lot of damage. So I think basically what I've learned, sorry, my cat is playing with the wind chimes. What I've learned is that thicker blankets make all the difference, some sort of insulated blankets, because this did really well. Now, I don't have a ton of comforters just laying around. The reason that sleeping bag got used is it's got a hole in it, and the other comforter is something old that came out of our camper before we, like, it was there when we purchased it and we pulled it out. I may try and thrift up some more comforters, but there's also the realization of most of this should not have come through 15 degrees anyway. We don't get this every year. We got this like 3 years ago, and that was like historic. This apparently was historic. Now, is historic going to be the norm? I hope not, because it's a little rough, but overall we came through it fairly unscathed. So the lessons learned, and just reality. What I have here, this lettuce that I did save, once I cut away the bad parts, is going to be plenty to make a salad this week. These greens will make a side for dinner. The spinach can go into an egg casserole. Like, I still have multiple food sources here. I have lettuce over there that I can trim up and get something out of. I think my carrots are going to come out of the ground fine. So it's all about what the plant is, how hardy it is, and the type of cover you can get on it. So next year in January, okay, back up. This year I got a little bit behind with my cauliflower plants. That's why they haven't headed. I should have been harvesting them a month ago. So this is on me because I got behind and they didn't get in here in time. So they were too late anyway. They should have been harvested at the end of December. I've already harvested, all of this was broccoli and cabbage, and I harvested it in time because I got it in time. Same thing, learning lessons there. So next year, this time of year, I would much prefer to have maybe 2 beds of things that I know I can get through a freeze, that I can, you know, quadruple my covers on because I have plenty of covers. That's part of what was the situation here, is I'm kind of spread out. So I had part of this bed and part of that bed and one bed here and then a part of a bed here. And so it was hard to deal with and hard to cover. Kitty's living her best life now that it's not so cold. So it was harder to deal with. So next year I need to get stuff in a smaller space and do better about that. I need to maybe have a few more thick covers and understand that January is January, and I will have fresh stuff planted this week and be going in the ground by mid-February with more cold weather crops that I will harvest in the spring. So all in all, not too bad. Hope y'all maybe gleaned some information from this, maybe thought it was interesting, and just got to see a little bit of something different that we do. Thanks.